But I think the scariest place for a griever to be is a place where you don't feel hope.
Mm.
And I was there. It was like, there's nothing. There's nothing in the future. There's nothing ahead of you that looks like anything desirable. It's just like there's just darkness ahead of you. And I want you to know that there is going to be light again someday, and you can choose to believe in that.
Welcome to the Called and Courageous Christian Woman, the podcast where we have meaningful conversation rooted in truth as told by Scripture and learn actionable steps to pursue a peace-filled, purpose-driven, unapologetically courageous life. I'm Britton George, and each week I'll be bringing you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and biblical wisdom to help you embrace your divine purpose, stand boldly in your faith, and live a kingdom-building life that reflects the courage and strength God has instilled in you. If you're ready to be empowered, uplifted, and encouraged as you pursue the life you were created for, then you're in the right place. Let's dive in, friend. Hey sis, can I speak to the woman who's tired of second guessing herself? Maybe you feel like something's missing, but you're not sure what. You're stuck in a cycle of striving for more, but never feeling like you actually get there. I have been in your shoes. If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or like something's missing in your walk with God or even your purpose, I've got you. Whether it's fear of the future, confusion over your calling, or just not feeling good enough, we'll work through it together. Did you know that if God's done it for someone else, He can do it for you too? Let's break free from comparison and self-doubt and dive into all the abundance that God has for you. Hop on to a free 15-minute peace and purpose chat. We'll talk calling, clarity, and confidence to help you get unstuck and moving forward. I want to pray boldly over you. Or even better, what I've got for you, yes, you, the woman who's done playing small, done getting in your own way, done feeling held back, inadequate, or making yourself small in order to fit in other people's lives. Girl, you, who's ready to reclaim peace and purpose. The full one-to-one confidence coaching session is where you need to go. Let's uncover the root of what's holding you back and help you boldly step into what God has for you. You don't have to stay stagnant. There is more for you, and you don't have to go it alone. We can get there together. Pause right here, scroll to the show notes, and click the link. I can't wait to see you face to face. Hi friends, welcome back. I know many of you have been anxiously awaiting this part 2 with my phenomenal guest, JoBeth. If you did not check out part 1 last week, I highly suggest that you start there. If you're going to just jump in anyway, let me introduce JoBeth. So she is a certified grief recovery specialist, speaker, and coach. She helps people navigate the heartache of loss with honesty, hope, and faith. After being widowed at only 33, she left her career in higher education to walk alongside others in their grief journeys. JoBeth brings a powerful blend of lived experience, professional training, and deep compassion to her work, and she's very passionate about helping people find healing, rediscover purpose, and experience the goodness of God, even in the middle of their pain. If you tuned in last week, you know that she has a testimony. This testimony, I know, is going to be a blessing to so many to bring hope in some of life's most devastating circumstances. I'm so excited to welcome her back. So let's dive in. So, your husband has passed away. You've got your kids and the farm, right? And a business, his business, as well as your own full-time job, correct?
Yeah.
So can you walk us through a little bit of kind of what happened maybe in the months following that? How did you, I guess, kind of keep it together how did God show up for you in those moments? And was there a time that you kind of started to see a little bit maybe more light or a little bit more hope or started to see the other side of things?
Yeah, so it's so weird. And anybody who's experienced grief knows this. The first 6, 7 months after he passed were not the hardest months. Those months, like I almost felt like I became a machine. Like I was like, okay, like because for a
Survival
year,
mode.
yeah, but like so much too had to be done. We had a business, we had a farm, and um my husband was the decision maker and all those things. And when he got sick, he still was a decision maker, but he wasn't able to make the good decisions like he always had. So when he passed away, it was like, it's game on now. Like, I've got to take care of this stuff that has been piling up for, that I couldn't make a decision on while he was here because of didn't want the altercation, didn't want the stress, like so it's just like
Hmm.
let it go. And so I had to jump pretty quick into doing that, taking action. We had equipment. I had to have an auction to get rid of some equipment because it was like just deteriorating. I had to sell cattle because we hadn't sold cattle in a long time, so we had way too many cattle. Had to cancel some lease places, then there's just all the paperwork stuff of the
Yeah.
home and of the business and all these things. Like he ran everything. And I said, I don't know, probably 1,000 times a day. People would be like, hey, where's this at? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how much did you pay for that? I don't know. Where are the keys to this? I don't know. Like, what's the password? I don't know. Like, I definitely like took care of the household, but everything outside the household was him. And I had to put things back together. And because we had equipment that was quickly losing value and deteriorating, I had to make quick decisions there.
Mm.
We had cattle that had to be fed and taken care of, had to make quick decisions there. And so I went into like beast mode. Like it was like I was so focused. I got up in the morning, I took an ice bath, I worked out, I did my Bible study. I was like, I treated my recovery like a business. Like
Mm.
I'm not going to kind of do this. I'm not going to halfway do this. But what I also did was I kind of ran myself in the ground.
Right.
And so it was like I was going to therapy, and my therapist was like, so what do you do to like relax and like just chill out? And like, what do you watch on TV? And I was like, I don't know how to turn our TV on. I
You're
wasn't
like, what
kidding.
what is relax? Like what is that?
Yeah, like can you explain to me what you're talking about? And she like prescribed a funny TV show for me to watch. I still haven't finished it, and it's been like 2.5 years.
Oh my
But like
gosh.
I did watch some of it. I watched like a couple seasons.
And you
But
didn't
it
even know how
was
to turn on the TV at that point.
no. I was like, I don't know how to turn this on. And so I would struggle for like 10 or 15 minutes. It should be easier to turn this TV on. I feel like it's tricky. But it was like a very challenging
Like
TV.
it's not me, it's the TV.
It's not me. But anyways, I'd figure it out and get it on. And then, but I was so in, if it wasn't towards me healing and me getting better and me moving forward, I was not interested, like
Mm.
not interested. But that wasn't necessarily healthy either. But my faith was dry. Not my faith, but I guess my activity level. Like
Yeah.
I never stopped going to church and still listen to praise music but like as far as like being like up in God's ear every minute of the day. Now I was like, I'm giving you a break. Like we're taking
We're taking a
like
break.
taking a break. Like I'm
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 not
gonna
going
check in.
anywhere, but we're taking a break.
I'm gonna check in the morning and I'm gonna check in the evening, but like all that talking that I've been doing, like it's gonna stop for a little bit. But yeah, like it didn't look like anything. But then I feel like Christmas time, man,
Mm.
Christmas is terrible. And like I'm not far enough out yet to tell anybody, oh, it gets better because I don't like this is the second, third. This was the second Christmas without him, but he was in hospice the first Christmas that was
Okay.
really bad. Um, he was in there Thanksgiving through New Year's. And so like I have like major like I guess you would call it PTSD, almost like Christmas lights.
Yeah, because there's an association there if that's when
Yeah.
he was in hospice.
So when I would leave hospice and drive home during the holiday season, seeing all the
Mhm.
Christmas lights, now I see them and I'm like, ugh, like I want to
Oh
throw
yeah.
up. Still, I don't know when it gets better, but the second Christmas, the first and second were just really hard. And so like I kind of slipped into the first Christmas, kind of slipped, so that would have been like 12 months, 11, 12 months after, kind of slipped into a depression, just didn't have a desire to live anymore. Um, it was kind of, I guess, the point where I had maybe got everything caught up to the point that I'd realized kind of what had just happened and the impact it had had on me. And I just remember too many days not wanting to be here anymore, understanding that I need to be here for my kids. That's the only people that I cared about. It's like I need to be here for them. I want to finish raising them, but as soon as I'm done raising them, like I can go. Like I'm done with this world. This world sucks. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this anymore. And I'd even met, like I'm remarried now, and I had even met him at that point, my current husband, and I loved him so much. And there was one day where he was singing, gosh, what was the song? It was something about like uh, dying and there being like, church is so much about dying. But like it was about like someday we're gonna be like in this wonderful land. And I just looked at him, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be here anymore. Like even though I had so much love and appreciation and compassion and like all the big, beautiful, lovely words for him,
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. And I
Yeah.
would be driving and it'd be like, I just want to cross the center line and hit that semi. That seems like a good idea because it would
Can
just all
I
be over.
ask? I have a question,
Yeah.
and whether or not you're comfortable asking it, but I'm just like kind of connecting these dots in my head. But with the adoption of your children from foster care happening, I mean, it wasn't, you guys had had them for how many years when he passed away?
We had them about 5 years.
Okay. Like, do you, in hindsight, and this is just me as an outsider, but
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you have had this feeling, but it sounds like they were kind of your saving grace, like they were your thing to live for. Do you see God's hand in that as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as you guys adopting and then you lose your husband? But like, where would you have been if you didn't have your kids? Do you think it would have looked quite different for you?
It for sure would have looked different because there were so many days that like I just didn't want to. There was days where I didn't want to live, but almost all days I didn't want to get up. But I dreaded waking up in the morning. Like
Hmm.
when I woke up, it was such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Not that I not like I'm not disappointed because I didn't die in my sleep, but just disappointed like I got to do this again today.
Hmm.
But because and people would tell me like I don't even know how you get out of bed in the morning. And I'm like, what would you do? Let your kids drive
Yeah.
themselves to school? Like that was kind of
Right.
like I gotta
Is
keep
there
like
another
yeah.
option?
Yeah, like I didn't know there was another option. But apparently there is, and apparently some people do that. Like that's how where they're at in their grief. But yeah, I mean they were a saving grace. We were still like I had them. Like after he died, like we slept, the three of us slept together for months, like 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
We slept together. And like I still had these little warm bodies to
Hmm.
hug and to hug me. And even though I feel like in a lot of ways I made the experience worse because like it wasn't like I was watching my heartbreak. I was watching these kids watch
Right.
their heartbreak too. So I don't know that I ever like saw them as a saving grace. I saw them as like this is much worse than it would have been if it would have been
Mm.
just me. Like I could
Yeah.
have like been suffering alone versus suffering with my
Watching them.
kids. But you bringing it up, I don't know. I don't know. Like I would like to think that I would have done the exact same thing. Um, but I wouldn't have had to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think it just kind of goes back to that question of like we can't understand God's hand in everything and how he orchestrates everything.
Hmm.
Um, but it does make me curious, like, was he making sure this is all set up so you weren't alone? And
Yeah.
not that we lean emotionally on our children, but if that's what was going to give you enough to make it through the day when you're at a point where you're like, I don't want to be here anymore, and your kids
Yeah.
are what's keeping you there. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to think about how some of those things intertwine, and we don't always see the big picture, but it was just a thought I had as you were kind of talking
Yeah.
about it and how it all played out. So, as you're going through all of this, and I can totally relate with the piece of like almost just driving yourself into the ground, and people
Hmm.
are like, "Well, how are you doing it?" And you're like, "Well, what
Hmm.
other option is there?" But as you're going through that, and you kind of mentioned your now husband, What have things, Christmas is still hard. I I would imagine, even just as like a psychologist, like the association there, like when you're describing like driving home from hospice and looking at the
Hmm.
Christmas lights, and that's where your mind goes, right? Like
Hmm.
kind of those positive associations of Christmas that we typically have been replaced. So, I mean, I would imagine that's hard for people for a long time, and there's probably different parts of the year, and you work with people in grief all the time, right?
Hmm.
So I'm sure a lot of your clients have, like birthdays are really hard, or Christmas is really hard, or anniversaries, or whatever it might be. Um, have things, and not at all to minimize his loss, but have things, you're remarried now, have they started to get better? Are you starting to maybe see the other side of it? Like, what has God done in your life recently that's allowing you to, I guess, just continue moving forward? And then I really want to talk about how you help other people, and what your coaching is, because again, I just think it's so powerful. It's so important. Like you said, you had trouble finding that support. So the fact that you are now making this available to others, let's kind of look at all of those pieces.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you brought those up together as like this like cluster of things that like seemingly may not go together for anybody that's listening. But so when I was 18, I was like driving and I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And I was like, I know I want to help people, but then my next thought was, and that you've went through nothing. Like, who's going to listen to you?
Mm,
Like, oh, let me help you. Oh, have you done this before? No, never. Like, but I'm here to help you. Like, people receive it better from people who have gone through it.
right.
And so I had that thought and I was like, well, I'll go into teaching because that's going to bring me lots of people to help, lots of kids that need help and need support and love. And so I went into teaching, and then my husband had a really big career. His career was much bigger, much more lucrative, definitely the breadwinner for our family. And I definitely came along beside him as his like assistant, his sidekick, but it was very time consuming. So, like, once I had my career and the kids and helping him, like, there was no time. And like, he wanted me to help him. That's what he
Mm,
wanted me to do. And like, the whole life, I was like, I'm going to do something bigger than just help him. Like, and
yeah.
I liked helping him, and I was so appreciative of the life he provided for us. But at the same time, I was like, I kind of want to do my own thing, but I
It's not
couldn't
your
because,
passion,
yeah, it
right?
wasn't my passion. I was just like, I was just an innocent bystander that got lured into this. Um, but I helped him because it supported our family, and it was great. It was fine.
Yeah.
But I got certified as a life coach and addiction recovery coach, and I kind of started working in a little bit, but just never would work because of the things I had to do. And so then we go through infertility, which we haven't talked about, but that was terrible. And then later, he dies, and I'm like, well, now I got something. Like that was terrible.
Hmm.
And I survived, but also like now I think God's kind of positioned me to help people. Be like, hey, remember, I don't think it was like, hey, remember how you said you hadn't went through anything?
Right.
Now you have.
Careful what you ask for.
I don't really know that it was like that, but I was like, okay, so I can help people, but also couldn't because I was running the company at the
Right.
time and the farm and the kids in the house. I was like, I don't have time for anything else. But then in comes Bo. And Bo knows how to do everything. He can fix anything. He can figure out how to do anything. And he also wants me to do whatever I want. And so he's like, I'm telling him like about my dreams, about what I want to do and all this stuff. And we're driving and he like reaches over and he grabs my hand and he was like, you have no reason to not do whatever you want to do. So whatever you're wanting to do, go do it. Like, go. Like, do the thing or whatever. And
Wow.
I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like he's not going to hold me back. He's not, which, he ended up taking over the construction company and running it because like, let's be real. I was doing the best I could.
Yeah.
But it was a little rough. And so he does that now and I have little involvement, which is fantastic. But he really like, I really feel like God brought him to me as like this little gift
Hmm.
for all the things that had happened in my life. And again, like I don't know that God's like, hey, you've been through some really hard stuff, here's Bo. But that's what it felt like to me. It was like, here's somebody that is going to make everything in your life so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not going to, like, he's going to be helpful, he's going to be loving, he's going to understand your grief and, like, embrace it and not push it away, not, like, you know, minimize it in any way. Like, he very much is like, of course you're crying. Of course you're sad.
Yeah.
Of course Christmas
Yeah.
is hard. Like there's never this moment of like, you need to get over it. Like that doesn't happen with him. And it's just really like freed my soul and my spirit up to explore, to learn, to take risk because I know like if I take a risk and I fail and I tell him like I took a risk and I failed, he's going to be like, okay, like
What's next?
yeah, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like there's not any punishment, there's no scrutiny coming from him. And it really has given me the permission and the encouragement that I need to get on podcast and talk about my life and to speak life and love over people. Like I feel so confident doing that now. And he is such a big part of that. And I just it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, getting to be with him but it's also been really hard too because,
Yeah.
like in a divorce, people choose to be apart for the most part. Um, my husband, my first husband in my heart is still very much alive. I still
Mm-hmm.
love him. I miss him. I'll always be sad he died, period. Like, and that's weird when you have that and then you have
Yeah.
new husband. But just, I feel so incredibly blessed that I had the opportunity at Love Again with somebody
Yeah.
who has just freed me in so many ways.
Right. Well, and I think this is also why we are so blessed to have other people, but especially other people that are Holy Spirit filled, because this is how God provides for us through other people, right? So it
Hmm.
sounds like you said, with everything you've been through, your husband now is able to provide the space that you've needed. And he's understanding and kind. And it sounds like
Hmm.
he does not at all like associate. Of course, you're going to be sad over your husband passing away and still having grief, and that's no reflection on your love of me, right?
Right.
Like, I give you space to grieve and space to like go chase after these dreams, and you've been a mom and helping your late husband run his business and run the farm and doing all of these things like you said. That was your role at that time within the marriage, and you were happy to do it. But now it's just kind of, I think, given the circumstances, the best situation and season of life you could be in now, despite everything that's happened to you. And God really does provide those things for us through other people that
Yeah.
pour into us and pour light and love into us and provide like just what we need in that moment or that season of life. So I think that's really beautiful. And it's just a very clear picture, like to me as a listener, of what that kind of looks like before, during, and after. And like you said, it doesn't minimize the loss of your late husband at all. It's
Right.
just a new season, and you deserve, like, you still have a full life to live, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? And to have a partner that's so supportive of that and supportive of your dreams, and you carried everything for so long, as far as with him, your late husband being sick and then him being gone. And like you said, like I just had to like go in there and do the thing, even if I wasn't great at it. And I needed to be there for my kids, and like you needed to be that strength. And so it sounds like now you've kind of got room to breathe and let someone
Yeah.
else take the lead.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. I want to kind of end with just inviting you to speak directly to a woman who's listening to this that's in her own valley.
Yeah.
What would you want her to know? It could be a scripture or a practical step, and then give us a little bit about your program.
Yeah. So, um, during the time of my deepest grief, I definitely read Romans 8 over and over and over again. So there was a scripture. I would just go to that and read it as many times as you can and see what it means to you each time you read it, because I think it'll change and evolve as you move through this process. But I think the scariest place for a griever to be is a place where you don't feel hope. And
Mm.
I was there. It was like, there's nothing in the future. There's nothing ahead of you that looks like anything desirable. It's just like there's just darkness ahead of you. And I want you to know that there is going to be light again someday, and you can choose to believe in that. And if you can't believe in that, like you can borrow my belief that
Mm.
it's possible for you and that there's going to be another side. And I just always want to speak hope and love and light over people because it's just such a dark, depressing time. And there is so much that you have to offer the world. And I don't know what that is. Like, it could be something as simple as, like, let's say you've lost a child and you still get up and go support your other kids. And so people are
Mm.
watching and they're like, oh, I don't know how she does it, but she's still going and supporting her kids. And then a few years later, one of those people who are watching you lose a kid and they look at you and they're like, she did it, so I
Mhm.
can do it. And maybe something that small, or maybe you're gonna create a nonprofit in your loved one's name, or you're gonna, create some kind of ministry. Like, I don't know what the plan is for you or what the vision is, but I do know that like your life has purpose, and the sooner you can believe that and go find it, the better. And so just lean into that, believe it. And like I said, if you can't believe it yourself, borrow mine until you can, because I believe it for you, because I know it's possible, because I've seen
Mm.
it. But today I do grief work with women and I do groups and one-on-one. And so I take them through the grief recovery method just because it is a evidence-based grief recovery program, which just means that they have studied it and people who go through the program report that they feel better at the
Mhm.
end of the program. And so we're not looking at going from I'm thinking about crossing the center line and hitting that semi to, oh my gosh, here's my nonprofit. I'm going to start a Facebook page today and start taking donations. Like, it's not that progression. It's you go from being in the deep, dark depths of grief to being like, I feel okay again. Like, you have these weird moments of like, oh, I feel okay. Like, why do I feel okay? I don't know why I feel okay. And
Mm.
it's getting you to that point, that gradual step where you can be like, okay, I can live with this now. Whereas maybe before you couldn't. And then obviously I have like extension opportunities where we can get to the point of like, I'm so on fire, I'm gonna, kick some doors down and change the world. Like, we can definitely get to that point too. But the very first initial part is like really just learning about grief, looking at
Mhm.
your own grief, and learning how to be okay again and to
Mhm.
live a life that is worth living. And I absolutely love that I get to do that for people. I always say that it's almost like somebody's down in like this deep, dark hole, and I'm reaching down, grabbing your hand and pulling you up into the light and
Mhm.
showing you what's possible. Like, that's what I'm doing for people. And so if anybody is like, oh my gosh, I need that, because like probably you either do or you know somebody that does.
Yeah.
I'm NWA, like Northwest Arkansas grief specialist on all social media. And then that's also my website as well. And there's free ebooks on the website.
Oh, perfect.
And so those are cool because they're really quick reads, they're pretty short, and they're free. And so you can go kind of get an idea of like some things that might really help you because education is super important.
Perfect. And I'll make sure I link that in the show notes too. So listeners, it'll be super easy to find. I will link the website and everything on there. I know people are going to want to find you. And I just want to leave us with this final scripture. So I've got 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 4. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. And so, JoBeth, when I was like praying and doing some Bible study specifically for this episode, it just reminds me of you and your whole mission. And I just, again, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your testimony and walking in your calling to help other women who are walking through the valley right now. I know you're a comfort to them, and through you and your story, I know like you said, it'll at least get them to where maybe they don't want to cross that center line anymore and
Right.
can hopefully find at least some renewed comfort and hope in Jesus through your testimonies. So thank you so much. I know this is going to be such a blessing to all of my listeners.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And just feel free to reach out if you even just have questions. I would love to be that support for you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Called and Courageous Christian Woman. I hope you felt poured into, encouraged, and empowered to keep moving courageously forward in your faith and calling. Be sure to stay connected with me on social media for more inspiration and updates. Any events, courses, or links mentioned in today's episode can be found on my social media accounts. I'd love to stay connected to my listeners, so be sure to find me there. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps others find this podcast and is the biggest way you can contribute to my mission of reaching women who are searching for a peace-filled, purpose-driven, and unapologetic life. I hope you found this episode to be a blessing for you. Until next time, God bless.